Fine. As far as
Yeah,
the technical is concerned, we are not going by the technical side, technicalities of software actually. So business analysis part we are going to cover. I taught
yeah.
you
So,
the way in
so
which technology you want to be proficient actually.
yeah, yeah, I understood.
Yes. So technology is from your end. You need to get onto it. But as far as the business analysis is concerned, I'll take care of it.
Okay.
Fine.
Yeah, yeah.
And Ishwar, don't worry. I'll be guiding you. I'll be guiding you.
Mhm.
Know what is the right path. How we can move forward. Post this course. Okay.
Sure, sure.
Thanks. So shall we start? 1 minute. So Ravi, are you sure that you could able to get it?
Yeah, why not?
I'm just asking you
Yes,
because your time is being also involved, right? Because I need to also know this, right? So shall we start for the day?
yes, yes.
Sure. Thanks. So Ravi, we are today agenda is the user stories, wherein we have completed the definition of a business analyst, roles and responsibilities of a business analyst, and software development cycle. A software development cycle is nothing but the transformation from an idea into a product, right? So it involves the different stages, 8 stages known, right from the initiating a project right to the deployment or life in a production, in other words. So these are the 8 stages which are involved in software development life cycle. Then we've come across the basics of the scrum. So how a work should be done, how a product should be developed, right? So in this way, so we are going to have we have had a discussion on about the scrum, and also we had a discussion on the scrum ceremonies in rather than the events, in other words. So how to do the work, I told you scrum is nothing but the breaking down the work into chunks. So in this priority, what the work to be done, we will be having a discussion during the sprint planning meeting. Then the work starts. That is called as the daily scrum meeting. Then as soon as the work is over for the past 10 days, we call it as a sprint review. Then after delivering what exactly need to be done in those 2 weeks, we are going to have a sprint retrospective. Fine. So we've been talking about the sprints. We've been talking about the sprints, nothing but the time boxed events. So in that sprint, what need to be taken? In that sprint, what need to be taken? So nothing but the requirements are chunked down into a user stories, right? So the requirements are chunked down into user stories. Okay, those user stories itself we are going to take in the sprint. Fine. So what do you mean by user story? So what do you mean by a user story? So user story is nothing but the feature of a software system, the description of a feature. User story is nothing but the description of a feature. I told you, for example, if I want to have let's assume like my requirement is, I being the client, you being the business analyst. I told you that I want to have a login page for my restaurant. I want to have a login page for my restaurant. So this is my requirement. So you are clear about the requirement. But the thing is that login page means what? What do you mean by a login page? In other words, what are the features should what are the features you need to captivate? Fine. So in one word, I need to have a login page. That doesn't make any sense. Until unless you want to develop a software product, you need to further chunk it into it. So that is called as the user story. Got my point?
No, sir. So this user story, who will decide that? Who will create the user story exactly?
Yeah. No, I'm just telling you the example. We'll get into it, right? We have this.
So in one story, there will be various tasks involved to accomplish that story, right?
Yes, yes. Story
So,
points.
so in that Jira, we see that we have a story, we have technical story, we have other such classifications also. So a story should be a feature. That's what you said, right?
Exactly. Story is nothing but the description of a feature. I told description of a
Okay.
feature. For example, I'll tell you. I want to log in. So for that,
Mhm.
what are the features for it? Nothing but username and password.
Yeah.
In other words, chunk breakage of that.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So we are going to use a common template. So as we proceed further, who is going to write the user stories or how to accept it, we'll discuss. If you have any further doubts, please feel free to discuss. Fine. So the common template using for user stories, this is the universal. So as I saw that these three are the common. These three is the common template. In order to write a user story, I'll tell you. Your doubt is that who is going to write the user story. Generally, if you are proficient enough, as a business analyst, okay, you can write the user story. You can write the user story, or else the product owner would write the user story. End of the day, who knows about the scrum? Who knows about the scrum? And for example, if it is a technical, if it is a pure technical project, if it is a pure technical project, then product owner is the person who would be writing, because we are the business analyst, we are functional business analyst. In other words, okay, if you are technically sound, you can write the user story. If you are functional business analyst, product owner would write the user story. Got my point? Ravi?
Yes, yes, yes. So what happens that in some organization you have to act as a both. Like you have to sometimes there is no hard and fast rule that you will not be writing the user story. So based
Yes,
on requirement, you can also create a new user story because you'll
yes,
be getting requirement from business, and
yes,
you can do that, right?
yes, absolutely.
Okay.
It depends. For example, I myself, I'm a functional business analyst. I'm not sound and technical, so I don't write generally. My product owner would be writing. So in your case, I don't know, Ravi, whether you are technically sound or not. If you are technically sound, you can go and write the user story. Fine. So the template is as I saw that. This is the standard template globally. As I saw that. So it is nothing but it has to fulfill these three templates. For example, if we are going to get a login page, going to build a login page. So what is the essential of it? What is the essential of it? So let's take an example like ATM, bank ATM. Okay, so what is your duty, role, and responsibility as far as bank ATM is concerned? We are going into the ATM center. Okay, we are inserting our card, waiting for the instructions. As per the instruction, we just move on, right? We are getting ample of instructions. What is exactly we are going to deal with it? So I being a customer of it. So what would I think? I'm in need of money. I'll go for the cash withdrawal or fast cash, whatever. Cash withdrawal, I'll go. So I'll insert the PIN number. I'll let them know. I'll type the amount which I need. Okay, then I can get the money. So this is the functional. This is the functionality of using a bank ATM. In that sense, how to write this. This is the functional. Then how to write the user story for this. So will you give a try? You're going to You're going to take money from the ATM. Okay. So this has been further chunked into user story. Please give a try that. How would you like to write a user story for this?
Okay. So I'll mention as a user, as
Uh-huh.
a as a card user, I
Okay.
should be able to process my transaction from ATM based on my available balance.
Because as criteria is only fulfilled, I so that criteria haven't been fulfilled, right? What you have so told.
Yeah.
You have to fulfill that criteria also.
Yes.
Tell me now.
So the requirement is simple. User should withdraw money from ATM, right?
Absolutely, yes.
So as a user, I'll mention
Mm.
I should be able to withdraw money from ATM.
Mm.
But the requirement is straightforward, right?
Yes, yes, but so that criteria is not being fulfilled according to you, right?
So that
No problem. Think over it. Because user story need to fulfill all this. This is a common, very common. These three criteria.
yes.
As I saw that, unless if it doesn't fill, you cannot consider this as user story. The requirement is very much simple. You are going to ATM, you are taking the money. Simple. How to write user story for this?
As a user, I should be able to withdraw money from ATM so that I can use the ATM card.
I want to withdraw money so that I can use the ATM card.
Yeah.
The other way around, exactly. This is not the right. The other way exactly, because the definition of user story is nothing but description of a feature, right? The description of it, of the work which you are going to do.
Okay. As a user, I should be able to transact
through
ATM so that I can use the ATM card.
Fine. So as a user, I want to fine. So I can use the ATM card so that I would be getting the money, right? That ATM card. In order to retrieve the money itself, right?
Money.
So that's what I tell you. I appreciate. But the thing is that it gives while you are writing, while you are writing or your product owner writing, end of the day, you are also responsible for the business, right? So make sure that it defines what exactly you are going to write as user story. It defines the feature, the description of what you are going to show, produce, in other words. Fine. So do you really fine, okay. So booking an online ticket, right? You give me a user story for that. Booking
online ticket for which? Bus ticket, train ticket?
Your wish. Chalo, movie ticket.
Yeah, so as a user, I want to book ticket online so that I can watch movie.
Exactly. So in this description, it is nothing but, according to whatever you said, it is nothing but it is telling the whole description of the work functionality which you are going to deliver, right? So in a similar way, it has to be short and sweet, simple. Okay, but I'm also telling you that it should not be not in a hi-fi English, and also everyone should be able to understand, because this is the user story wherein the people would be taking out from from Zira board itself, right? So some might be very much in English language, some might not. Okay, so make sure that always user stories for your success, I'm telling you, user stories must be short and sweet and in very much simple English. Got my point?
Yeah, that is very true, because if anybody can look into it, they should be able to understand what is the ask.
Exactly. So for each and user story, you need to have an acceptance criteria.
It is not a platform to showcase your English, basically.
Absolutely.
You should showcase your English at the right juncture, at the right place, at the right audience. That is not a proper place. Just getting the things done, basically. If there is any ambiguity, when you have to clarify this, because development team will say that, okay, I'm not able to understand what you're saying.
Exactly. So for each and every user story, whichever you write, that need to be accepted. That need to be accepted. Fine. So it should also pass a test. For example, you have told me 2 to 3 user stories. Okay. So only telling to me that doesn't make any sense. Until unless it has to follow the protocol of the acceptance criteria. Unless it follows the protocol of the acceptance criteria itself, then we can say it as the perfect user story, or the user story which can be considered, in other words. Fine. So That's what. So what do you mean by acceptance criteria? It is nothing but, it has to be very complete thing. So you have told me one user story, likewise, booking a movie ticket, Fine. What in case, for example, if there are no tickets, what in case if there are no tickets, then you cannot book the ticket, right? Until unless you have the vacant seats in that theater, okay, then itself you can book the online, then you can book the ticket, right? So it has to. So there are some also if and buts also would be there. So you need to fulfill those also. Post fulfilling those itself, we call them as the acceptance criteria. Why? Because why we need to have the acceptance criteria? Just because we are building a software system. We are building a software system. Okay. So obviously being technology is being involved. Obviously there are certain uncertainties that there might be some hacks. Okay. There might be some technical issues involved. Okay. So in order to prevent them, whatever the feature you are going to develop, you also need to involve the pros and cons also. Those are called as the acceptance criteria. You need not to worry. With example we are going to see in the next few slides. So I'm just making you sure that what do you mean by user story, how to write a user story, and in order to call it as a user story, what is that need to be met. Okay, that is called nothing but the acceptance criteria. Are you sure with this slide?
Yeah, so maximum how many points should be there in acceptance criteria?
It depends. For example, whenever you are going to log in a screen, login page, log in a web page, in other words. So there is not like that maximum. For example, it depends upon the more user stories, there will be more acceptance criteria. Generally, we can consider as the 3 to 4 actually. Maximum 3 to 4. My product owner used to say, let's write only 3 to 4 points each for each and every acceptance criteria.
Correct.
Maximum. It depends. So generally, I believe university is considered 3 to 4 itself, 3 to 4 points. I don't know about your organization. Also follows the same?
Yeah, maximum it should be less.
Yes. Not to make simple. For each and everything,
Yeah,
you cannot keep on sit and write all this in Ramayana and Mahabharata, right?
yeah,
So can we move ahead?
yeah.
So, so writing a user story. I told you that why are we writing a user story? Because it is nothing but the description of a feature, right? So description means feature means end of the day it should be used for the end user itself. Fine. So you need to define your end user who is going to use that. So booking a movie online ticket. So who is going to fetch the gain for that? Is nothing but the customer itself, right? The Aam Aadmi, in other words. Okay. So we need to you need to define keeping in view of the end user. Okay. So you need to specify why are we writing user story. You are specifying what exactly your requirement is, right? So why are you writing a user story? Because you are specifying what exactly your requirement is. For example, your requirement is to book an online ticket. Simple. So for that, what you are specifying nothing but until unless I have this, I cannot I cannot book. So this is nothing but specifying, right, what exactly you want. So the benefit of is nothing but until unless I log into book my show or whatever. Okay. I cannot, until unless I book the tickets, I cannot view the movie. Until unless I book the tickets, I cannot view the movie. Okay. So for this, I told you there is a litmus test kind of, in other words, to be precise. So acceptance criteria has to be met in order to call it as a complete user story. Fine. So make sure whenever you are going to write user stories, you need to make sure that some points that it has to be benefited, it has to be some benefit in perspective of a end user itself. You are going to write, and it has to meet acceptance criteria. Simple.
Okay.
Got my point? Got my point?
Yeah.
So let's see with the examples. I guess my system is with virus man because I've been getting with this. So I'll enlarge somewhat. Now is this pretty much clear?
Yeah.
So I've taken generally I'll tell you user stories are further breakdown into, the chronological order is user story, epics and features. Fine.
So feature is the highest level thing, right?
Feature is the highest level thing. Yes.
Okay. So user story, then epic. Epic is a combination of various user stories,
Exactly.
and feature is the end goal of a particular. What is feature exactly?
Yeah, feature I'll tell you. So what are the components to be used? I'll tell you with an example. So what is my requirement? I need to build a login screen in general, a web application. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is my feature. Okay, this is my feature. Feature is the
Login
highest
screen is my feature, right?
feature. For that, we are breaking down into epics. For example, I want to build a login screen. In that different login screen, different epics would be. I want to build down into epic. So what do you mean by epic? Epic is nothing but what are the requirements for it. Whether you need to have the description for it, the username, the password, forgot username. These are the epics you can consider. And further, you are going to break down into user stories. For example, you are going to you had a username. Okay, in for this username, again, would you like to involve in the either the username name or the phone number? This is nothing but the further breakdown of it. Got my point?
Yeah.
Sure. Feature, epics, user stories. This is the chronological order. Feature,
I have
epic.
only doubt in feature. See,
Okay.
I'll repeat it. Correct me if I'm wrong. Epic is like you said that user should be able to log in. Like login is a one epic.
Yes.
In that login, there are multiple stories like
User stories. Yes.
login as a new user, logging as an existing user,
Yes.
logging as a single sign-on user, login as a third-party app user like Google, Facebook, login as a like that's a social media user, and there can be like is it a stories like logging for a paid or like what is the access, how much access he can get if I'm logging as a user. If it is
Mm,
an enterprise application, you cannot have access to all the things, right?
mm,
So that is login is a one epic, right? That
exactly.
that and in that epic there will be various stories. So that can move over various iterations, right?
Yep. Yep. Yes.
So it's not necessary that epic will be delivered as part of one
No. No.
sprint.
No. 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 You cannot. You cannot. You're going to deliver in the form of user stories itself, right? Not an epic one.
Yeah. So
Okay.
generally, how many stories are part of one epic?
It continues on the functionality and depends upon the project. There's no defining as such. For one product, you need to have this many stories, right? It depends upon the complexity of the project also.
So that is a set pattern that we will always have the epic.
I tell you, for the current project which I'm taking care of, right? For example, we have breakdown into as far as we ourselves is concerned, we are having the 5 epics till now. For further, we haven't got the requirement. My current project which I was doing, for the till now, we haven't got the requirements. Still, it is in the steady phase itself. Till now, we got the 5 epics, out of which we are going to have, in that we have chunked down into major 10 user stories for each and everything. Fine. So it all depends upon the project itself. There is no clear exact definition that for one project this many epics should be there, this many user stories would be there. It all depends upon the complexity of the project itself.
Okay.
And upon the understanding of your business requirements. In other words, the understanding the process of your business. Then itself you can further chunk down into it. But there is no hard and fast rule that for one project you need to have this many epics, and for this many epics you need to have this many user stories. There is no as such. It purely depends upon the project itself.
Okay.
Yes. Sure? Are you sure? Getting my point?
Yeah.
No, I mean, because I have to convince that you are convinced.
No, I'm convinced. I only have doubt between epic and feature. So feature is very highest level thing, right?
Exactly. Feature is the highest level.
And one more thing in this process, initially you discussed that the RFPI framework.
Sorry?
RFPI framework.
RFPA framework. What
in the first class you discussed that, no? RSPI, that there are different parties involved for business analysis.
Yeah, initiation.
Yeah.
Yes, RFP. Yes. Request for proposal, request for quotation, RFP, RFQ. Those lies in the hands of the sales team itself, right?
So we'll be as a business analyst will not be doing this RFP framework.
RFP, RFQ. Yes, very few companies. For example, if you know in and out of the business. For example, if you are very much strong in that domain, then the people likewise, whenever the sales team their sales team ask you to intervene at the time of the presentation, what exactly the business you are handling. Okay, what are the pros and cons? How are the challenges you're going to overcome? At the time of presentation to the client, then they might ask you to step in.
Okay.
We are also having this post. So pre-sales business analyst also is there, but limited, but very limited.
Okay.
Yes. Ravi, please feel free to ask if you have any number of doubts. I don't mind.
Can you give an example of features like in real time, like what you do?
Okay. So you want to have the feature in a real time, right? 1 minute.
Yeah. Let's be on this screen. Let me just go through it one more time.
Okay.
The user type here is mobile user, epic is registration, login, my account, registration account, web user. So we decide epic as per the user type, right?
1 minute. So I'll take my own project as an example.
Yes.
And we can go according to that.
Some background noise is there.
One minute, mate. I'm opening my system.
Can you mute the background noise?
Sorry?
The background noise is there.
Yeah, 1 minute. Yes, Ravi. Ravi, are you on? Yes. So I told you that the requirements are breakdown into features, right? The epics and the user story, right? So
Yeah.
what exactly? So I'll go through my project once. So my project it is not a well-defined project. My project is not a defined project because my product owner involves in this and my client also involves in this. So we cumulatively been thinking on what to do. Because I told you, there are sometimes that if you want to have a requirement gathering, at that point of time, stakeholder would know what exactly he requires. But unfortunately, in the current project which I'm doing, my stakeholder doesn't know. doesn't know. In fact, just we have started the project. It's been 3 months, 3 months of time. So we've been daily in our meet, we've been discussing about what exactly we have to do. Fine. So this is nothing but whenever the requirement is not at all predefined. So based upon our daily discussion, we've been having the brainstorming. Based upon our brainstorming, we are finalizing about that. We are discussing on the next contents which we need to build. Okay, so for that, as far as we doesn't know the requirement, or we came into the conclusion the requirement is nothing but we need to have a score. Basically, we are working on a general insurance product. We need to have a score. For example, whenever a customer is want to apply for a claim, he would be getting the score. Based upon the score itself, wherein we are going to consider that whether the claim is legal or illegal. Got what? This is the core of the project. Got my project?
Yeah.
So nothing but, to be precise, whenever, for example, I am a customer of ICICI. Okay, so ICICI. So let's think that I often have the claims, make the claims. Okay, so obviously that one time, two time, it is fine. In an year, as soon as I pay the premium, I'll be keep on going for the claims itself. So obviously it is nothing but I'm doing a fraud itself, right? So in order to prevent that, company has come up with one new with the new idea that score has to be given. Okay, so they have given different credentialities for this score. Out of 1,000, if the score is 900, it is exceptionally well. He's having a good record as far as his policy is concerned. It's a neat guy. So if it is beyond, if it is under 600, you can you need to be considered. The claim should be gone for the investigation. If it is 200 minus, if it is below 400, it is obviously, it makes that it is fraud, because in single year he has come up with multiple of claims. Let's assume it is of genuine or non-genuine itself, a different story altogether. But in company perspective, they are going to scrutinize more. So this is the project, that's it. So for that, what we are going to do, we've been brainstorming from the past 3 months. So we have taken the first feature as the first. For this, you need to build the screen homepage first of all. For this, fine, you need to build the homepage for this. So this is nothing but we can consider it as the feature, right? Building the homepage. Agree to my point?
Yeah.
Then afterwards, we are going to we are further chunking down into a epic. We are further chunking down into a epic. So for that epic, what are the requirements? For example, in our, as far as my project is concerned, we are going to have a more nothing but the client experience. For example, for which platform we are going to migrate. So for that, we are going to majorly check down. We are considering it as the epic for that. And epic again, we have checked down into a user story. And epic again, we have checked down into a user story. Fine. So nothing but, I'll share the screenshot for your reference. 1 minute.
Yeah, yes, this is very important. And previous meeting slides also.
What previous meeting? Daily
Like session 2.
Session 2 I've sent to you, right?
No, I did not receive it.
I have sent you through WhatsApp. See, have a glance. Please go through WhatsApp once.
Okay. Yeah. What is Duck Creek?
And we are migrating into that platform actually. Duck Creek is one of the insurance software.
Okay.
We are migrating from that Duck Creek. We are migrating into Duck Creek.
So in our project, they are also using initiatives they are using.
Sorry?
In our project, they are also using initiative.
I haven't got your point. Sorry.
Is there something called as initiative?
Initiative, nothing. No. There's nothing. No point called as initiative in Scrum.
No, for example, you're bringing a new solution for a particular region. For example, Canada region, they will call it is a Canada initiative. Under initiative, they will use Epics. Under Epics, they will write user stories like that.
Might be, no. Because till now I haven't heard about, in Scrum the word called as initiative.
Yeah, when I was new, but it is one component of Jira. If you Google it, it will come like initiative is also there.
Okay.
Maybe at highest level they call it initiative.
That's in general, as a business perspective, in order to run the show, Jira, we are going to learn, no doubt about that. Fine.
Yeah.
So coming to your point. So in order to give you nothing, but first of all, for you people to write the user story or break or the epic or feature, whatever might be, you as a business analyst, you must be thorough with the what exactly that business all about, or else in other words, what exactly the requirement. Unless you know the requirement, you cannot move forward. Or there's the other side of the coin, that if the requirement is not predefined, then at that point of time also you can have a brainstorming sessions. And accordingly you can get into it. Got my point?
Yeah.
So let's see an example. Ravi, if you are sure itself, wherein we can move ahead, Ravi. If you think that we need to stop, we can stop and discuss. But the main agenda of this session is nothing but, you need to be, after as soon as the course is completed, you need to be strong, potential or strong enough that you can crack the interview.
So just tell me one thing, these many user stories I have mentioned, I can write one user story for registration and then I can mention the tasks, subtasks for each registration itself.
Yeah, you can write, but the thing is that, for example, it also should meet the acceptance criteria also, right? So if you can write only one user story also, no one is stopping.
So let's see this registration case. You have written 4 user stories.
I've written 4 user stories because because one might not follow the acceptance criteria. Again, I need to go and rethink, right? There's nothing wrong. That's what I say. If I'm as a business analyst, if I'm sound enough on the requirement, and the business processes, then I can chunk down into n number of user stories. Because this is not involving in the technicalities, right? It is purely a functional one. So I can write 3 to 4 user stories. Then provided at the time of acceptance criteria which falls in this, then I can consider only that user story itself.
Okay.
This is the rough version, right? That doesn't mean I've written 4 or 5 user stories. That doesn't mean all these 4 or 5 user stories would meet the acceptance criteria.
So are you also like you yourself is getting Epic there in the Jira?
Yeah, I'm getting it. Yes.
Okay.
If it is a functional project, then I'll move. I can run the show. If it is a technical one, of course, with the help of my domain expert or subject matter expert, or with the help of with my product owner, then I can move ahead.
Okay.
Got my point?
Yeah.
Let me know if you have more doubts. Let's have discussion.
No. I'm good. I'm okay with it. So
Sure.
we'll be creating some epics. Like I want to do it, like practically, like how to create epics in Jira software.
So first of all, you need to know the requirement. You do one thing, you come up with your own requirement. Whenever we start the Jira, you come up with your own requirement.
Okay.
You come up, I'll tell you, whenever we are going to have Ravi, you need not to worry, Ravi. Each and everything would be explained to you.
Okay.
Each and everything. Fine. The thing is that, let's get into this. First of all, the book ones, theory ones. After that, we can get into practical.
Correct.
Right? Make sense.
Yes.
Get into the theory first. Let us complete the theory. Then we can get into the practical. Don't worry about that. Fine. So here you need not to worry that though I have written 3 or 4 user story for one epic, okay, it doesn't mean these all everything should be passed on. It has to meet the acceptance criteria, and also my development team also should consider that. Come on, we will go by the number 2 1. We can go by the number 1 1. There is nothing wrong in it. Let's
Yeah.
assume these 3 also pass the acceptance criteria. We can go as per our team's wish itself, which is easy. End of the day, the fund of user story is nothing but why we are writing. It has to give the description, right? It should define. Okay. It should tell in the same way, in the same order. It also should tell you the benefit of using it.
Correct.
Fine. Simple. So that doesn't mean you for as a business analyst, it's not your duty that keep on writing user stories for one epic. You can't do that, right? There might be 100 numbers of user stories you might come up with, but end of the day, you need to consider only one.
Yeah.
We not to worry about that. Got my point? Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm okay.
200%?
Yes.
Fine. Can we move ahead?
Yeah.
So in general, which if you want to develop, there will be 2 types. Either for for the mobile application. Mobile application, the best is that Book My Show. It is nothing but the mobile app itself, right? Fine. So as far as the web application is considered, you need to go for the things like what is the best example for web application? Booking a TTD is the best example. You can consider this, right?
Yeah.
So there will be majorly you are going to develop any one among them of these 2, whether the mobile application or the web application. Fine. So for this, I've created the different. I've taken out of my general. I've considered this. Okay. So for this, how to register it. How to register. Okay. For registration, I have chunked down into user stories. I've chunked down into so registration is the one thing. For I need to build up. I need to get the registered so that I can access to it. That doesn't make any sense, right? So I'm building a software for this registration. Also should be there. So how can I have this registration? Or else how my end user would be registered into it. Okay. So I've come up with 3 or 4 user stories for this using the template. So as a user, I can register for the application by entering my email, password, and combining my password. Simple. Okay. So got my point.
Yeah.
So it is fulfilling this or not? What is the fulfilling criteria? So why it should define, right? As a user, fine. As a user, okay, I can. So it is nothing but what you are going to have. And end of the day, what is the what would be the end funda? Nothing but by entering I can register as a user. I can register to the application. Okay. For what would be the end perspective? So what is that? So that I've covered in that. So by entering my email password and confirming the password itself, I can register into the application. This is the template. So this makes sense?
Yeah.
Sure?
Yeah.
In
So I
this,
have one
yes,
one, one
please.
question. So before the start of the sprint, we'll be creating this user story, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Because you are going to take the user stories in the sprint itself, right? What you're going to take, except the user stories. Got my point? Only the
Yeah.
user stories itself you are going to take in the next sprint.
Yes.
So this is the same way for the, for different, you can also come up with your own. For example, I want to go to, in your bike, you want to go from Hyderabad to, from Secunderabad to Kukatpalli. Let's see this. Let's see starting of a bike. I need to start bike riding. In other words, bike riding. Let's take an bike riding is an epic. Then how would you drill down into user story? Tell me. Bike riding. I told you just bike riding is your epic. Drill down into a story.
Can you repeat, sir?
So yeah, you want to go from Hyderabad. So where is your place? Are you in Bangalore or Kerala?
Yeah, Bangalore, but I know Hyderabad. I've been there before.
So
I know
fine.
Kukatpalli.
Kukatpalli, fine. So you want to travel from
Hmm.
Secunderabad to Kukatpalli. Okay.
Hmm.
You are a bike rider. Okay. So
Yeah.
nothing but epic is a bike rider. Now check down into user story. Are you able to get me? So come on, let's get into this. So you want to travel from Secunderabad to Kukatpalli. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. For this is nothing but the feature. In other words, the high level requirement. Okay.
Yeah.
For that, you have checked down into epic. What would be the epic?
Epic, I'll mention it is traveling to Secunderabad. I mean, traveling to Kukatpalli or
Whatever.
what.
Okay, fine. Then
Hmm.
break down into user story.
User story will be as a user, I should be able to first. I'll add one user story is booking the bus.
No, for bike, let's consume it as bike itself. Na?
So one user story I'll mention that bike should be in movable condition.
I'm telling you one thing, Ravi. Always you need not to be user itself. As a bike rider, as a driver, also you can consider, right? The main criteria is nothing but as. Okay, that we haven't told you that you need to use the user, right? Yes, it should fall under as criteria. As means who is the person, who is the entity. That might be always there. They always that might not be a user itself, right? The bike rider also, you might be a driver. In other words, as a rider. In other words, got my point.
Yeah.
Make sure that always you need not to have a user itself. Coming which we the example which we have quoted.
Yeah. I got your
Now
point.
you got my
So
point, right?
yeah, so I'll mention this way: as a bike rider, I should be able to start my bike.
Okay.
That is one user story, because without starting the bike, how will I move?
Then your destination, right? Why are you starting the bike and why are you moving ahead? In order to travel from here, Secunderabad to Kukatpally itself, right? This should also you
Hmm.
should mention, right?
No, I'm not getting you, sir. See, my epic is that I should be able to complete my travel journey. Okay,
Exactly.
from point A to point B. That is my epic. In that
Exactly.
point
Okay.
A to point B, there will be say 10 user stories. Okay, or
Wow.
five user story says. In five user story, the first user story that I'm traveling with by bike. So as a user, I should be my bike should be in walkable condition. I should be able to start my bike, because this is a new functionality. And I do not know whether he has traveled on this road before, whether his bike is in workable condition or not. So first I'll have to ensure that as a user I'm able to start my bike, or start the engine or something like that.
Fine.
The
Fine.
first step. Once I'm able to start my bike as a user, I should be able to um,
As
I
a
mean,
rider, man, not a user. Fine.
yeah, as a rider, we can say that as a rider I should be able to uh, have all the like checks at place, because you're traveling from one place to another. Your bike should have brakes, your bike should have all the gear functionalities, your
Mm,
bike should be have proper fuel.
mm.
So those kind of thing we need to mention.
That is absolutely fine, but the thing is that the main thing is that you are missing the other content of it. Why you are going to have all these, whether the fuel has to be there, in that you need to have the adequate amount of air in your tires. So what is the purpose of having all this? Nothing, but you have to reach the destination itself, right?
Yeah.
So that is the end perspective. For why? So as per the template which we have discussed, it has to fulfill these three templates itself. So as is nothing but who is driving what. So after that, what exactly he want in order to move for his destination, what exactly he want, then why he want this. Got my point? So you are confining yourself that as a rider as a rider, the fuel must be there. Fine, why this must be there? In order to reach the destination itself, right?
Yeah.
That you have to mention, right? Getting my point?
Since main purpose is here to reach the destination, that's what you're saying, right?
Exactly.
Can you go back to the previous slide as a user? So here, how many like a story we can write, because this is just a one simple thing, right? He has to just complete the travel journey.
Mm.
So here it can be one story also, right?
Yeah, that's what I said you, right? So there is nothing like I have to write 4 or 5 user stories, nothing as such. If it is one also, if it is exactly what exactly you are going to get in the end perspective, it is fulfilling that criteria, acceptance criteria, in other words, then you're done. Go ahead with the one user story itself.
Okay.
Got my point? So you are fulfilling, nothing but you are fulfilling that. As a bike rider, you need to have adequate air or adequate amount of petrol fuel. So okay, so that you can reach the destination safely. Simple. This is done, right? You are fulfilling the epic and also the user story along with the acceptance criteria.
Yeah.
So I totally understand. I'm not blaming you, but the thing is that you should always, being a business analyst, you should always make sure that what is the requirement, whether it is fulfilling the requirement or not. If it is fulfilling the requirement, you can end up with that single user story itself. There is no predefined that for one epic you need to have n number of user stories. You can further break down. Okay.
Okay.
Got my point? Are you sure?
Yeah, I got it.
Ravi, I don't mind telling you hundred of thousands of time.
No, but only thing is that sometimes there could be some conflict. For example, if I've created 5 user story,
Okay.
then developer can say that why you created 5 different user story, or like, so in that case, in the sprint planning meeting itself, we can close any unwanted user story, right?
Exactly. That's the reason we are going to have a sprint planning meeting, right? That's the reason we are going. I told you the duration is minimum of 4 hours. In that, we are coming across n number of challenges. So let's assume you are a business analyst. You have come up with 4 or 5 user stories. Okay. So you're at that point of time, you are told that this many I've written. Okay, I'm strong enough, sound enough. I've written. So developer would be said, "Hey, bacha, your bacha in front of me. Don't act too smart. Okay, one you can write." In general, it happens, right? Conflict, challenge. Then product owner would say that let us consider this. The scrum master would facilitate. What exactly that to be taken.
Correct.
Yeah, that's the reason we are going to have, my dear friend. So only for fulfilling one user story itself, we are going to take 10 days, right? 10 or 2 user stories, in other words. Okay. So for that, if you keep on writing the 10 to 15 user stories, why the 4 hours is required? Because everyone should get convinced.
So tell me one thing here. You have mentioned this user story. So here, you parallelly you have to also provide the screenshots of the existing application, like some mock-up you have to provide.
Yes, you have to provide it after taking down the requirements, writing the BRD and FRD. You have to create the mock-up being a business analyst. Yes.
That I do not know how to write the BRD properly. Like I do not.
Because now we haven't gone till the requirement stage itself, right? We are still in the
Yeah.
day 3 of our curriculum itself. Yes or no?
Yeah.
So there's long to go, Ravi. Got my point?
Yes.
I'm going to show you. Wait. See, class diagrams also would be is there. See, activity diagram. Have you gone through this diagram? You could able to see. You could able to see in the screen.
Yeah, I can see it now. Use case diagram.
That's what we haven't been till there, right?
There is one more thing, like for example, I've written the user story, so I will perform the UAT with user as well, because currently I'm doing everything as a developer. I'm executing the task, and then I'm taking the UAT sign off also. So as a BA, I will also be doing the same, like a Scrum Master BA role.
Scrum Master, that's what I said. It is the two profiles are entirely different, Ravi. Business analyst is different, the Scrum Master is different. Okay, so those two jobs are unique. They have their own roles and responsibilities, but you need to know which path you should follow.
Because they are mixed role. These days they are expecting you to act as a Scrum Master also for certain occasion,
but
and
not
then
to
you.
the full extent. But that's what I'm saying. Not to the full
full
extent as
extent,
Scrum
but
Master. You won't deliver that. I bet on this. They are looking for it, but you won't deliver what exactly the whole Scrum Master would be looking out.
Yeah.
Because for Scrum Master, the job role is entirely different. Business analyst job role is entirely different. It is nothing but something fishy in the market. It happens. We cannot eradicate that. But they are going to look out for that. But as soon as you step into organization, you are confined either to any one of them itself.
Yeah, so the one which I sent you yesterday in the Commonwealth Bank, they are looking for technical business analyst. So it is actually most of the tasks which I'm already doing, but I need to work on that business analysis part. For example, they mentioned that effective requirement gathering, elicitation, and documentation. That is the one role. Second role, they are acting as a conduit between business and IT stakeholder in relation to data requirements.
Nothing but taking down the requirement itself, right? What they are asking, they have asked you about the requirement elicitation. Are we not getting into requirement elicitation? See my screen?
Yeah, we'll be getting into that. That's why I was a little excited to this type of opportunity. So they have also mentioned that writing SQL, which I already do, querying using SQL, which I already do,
the
active
basic
contribution to UAT and QA on the program that I already do. Only the top level part I want to hone my skills. For example, evaluate effectiveness of solution delivery, SDLC.
Okay. That's
Tools,
what.
process, and analyze the document business functional processes and requirement using standard analysis methodology and tools. Convert business needs into functional design using knowledge of system capabilities, tools, and architecture.
Yep. Yes. So are you seeing this documentation, requirements documentation? We are going to cover each and every point. But the thing is that, step by step we are covering it. You need to lock your horns. I appreciate, you're proactive, but give some time to time. I make sure that, everything topic would be inculcated.
It is like an epic only. In epic, every day we are covering some stories, right?
Exactly.
Our end goal is like a big epic where we have to, at the end of this, we should be able to, understand
Turn
how
down into a number of user stories. Yes.
Yeah. So every day we are executing. It's like a sprint. We are doing in attrition, and we are doing in like this way. There's one more thing I want to know. There's one institute called IIBA, right?
Yeah, IIBA. Yes.
So they have something called Agile Analysis Certification. So can you look into this if it is good, if it adds any values to your profile?
Because I've done my PSM1 and PSM2 also, Ravi. That doesn't make any sense, going for agile analysis.
Okay, so what is this agile analysis certification?
They are nothing but I'll tell you, because I have all these materials with me. Because by always my colleagues would be sharing it in our common group, in our office group. The thing is that it is nothing but the other part of, because for example, if you were to look out, if you were to log into Udemy course, you know about the Udemy, right? The application.
Yeah.
So once if you, for only one thing, we are going to have n number of theories for single subject. In the same way, I don't understand really what do you mean by agile analysis and scrum analysis. Fine, they might be going into a different perspective. The teaching might be different. The end of the concept is the same. But nothing but I can say you beating around the bushes. If we were to follow Scrum Book is the ultimate Bible. Fine, Scrum Book.
Which one is Scrum Box?
Scrum Book. So I'll share it with you in a while. Nothing.
Okay.
This is the Bible. Fine. So there is no point again doing the agile analysis or whatever. If you want to work as a Scrum Master and if you want to work according to the Scrum process, follow the Scrum Book. What is telling you? That's it. Follow the process. Got my point?
Yeah.
I totally understand, Ravi, but being the very new, don't get don't worry. I'm here to help you out.
Okay.
Fine. I'll be sharing it with you, the Scrum Book. This is the universally accepted. IAB is nothing but it's an institute wherein that gives you the certification. It has more value whenever if you want to work in Canada.
This is IABA, okay?
Yep.
Okay, sir. So I need to drop off. I need to go now. So maybe we can continue the session tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yes.
Yeah. So once this our whole session is done, I need your help to write down my resume and all those things like.
That's